Welcome to the Dating After Divorce podcast. I'm your host, Shade Curry, and I believe every divorced woman deserves a romantic relationship where she feels safe, loved, and cherished. You can create the most amazing life after divorce, and I will teach you how. Hello, welcome back to the Dating After Divorce podcast. So I am so delighted to talk about the fact that the podcast is 2 years old. Like that, it feels like time just flew by. We launched the podcast February, I believe it was the 3rd of February in 2021, and it's been 2 years. So I just wanted to take a moment to celebrate that and celebrate all of you who keep coming back and downloading the episodes. I looked at the stats and we are at 60,000 downloads, which is insane. This is a little bit insane because I still remember the very first download. I remember the feeling of having, I believe it was 50 downloads the first week when I launched this with 3 episodes. So I just want to celebrate. I'm raising my hands in the air and kind of like shaking and dancing, and I'm celebrating with you, and I hope you are celebrating along with me. If you have found this podcast helpful, I would love it if you would leave a review. And it only takes a couple of minutes. You just hit the review button and you put the number of stars, hopefully 5 stars. And if you want to say something awesome about the podcast, please do that as well. But even if you just hit this number of stars that you believe the podcast deserves, again, 5 stars, that is more than enough. I would love for more women who are dating after divorce to discover this information. We have so many episodes that would be so helpful to so many people. So please share the podcast, leave a review, and I will be eternally grateful to you. All right. To today's episode, I am talking about massive action, dating and massive action. So sometimes you are working on something, you are getting ready, you're thinking about it. You may not feel ready, so you don't start. Or you start and you experience a little failure, and then you go back and you're like, oh, I got to go fix this and I got to go get ready again. And this is a very familiar situation. There is nothing wrong with reviewing and evaluating your journey and saying, hey, I need to fix something. I need to do something differently. And I did this very early in my dating journey. I think it was just, I don't know. Can't remember that. I have to go look this up. A couple of months maybe into being on the dating apps. And I was on OkCupid, which for most places, it's not a great dating app right now as of early 2023. And at the time, it was already kind of like going down. I was on OkCupid, and they did a great job with like the questions they would ask and getting a profile on you. And then they would, when you matched with someone, or when they showed you a profile, they would tell you the percentage match you had with that person, right? I think I've told this story before. And very early in my dating journey, I saw my ex's profile on OkCupid, and the app said we were a 99% match. And I was like, oh, this isn't good, right? And you could say in that sense, I experienced a failure, right? And I needed to make some adjustments. And I talk about how I took a break from the apps at that point in time. But I think a piece of that story that I've left out is that while I took a break from the apps, I didn't stop dating. I was like, okay, I got to go fix some things. That was when I did some self-discovery, did some reclaiming of my strengths, reviewed my ideal partner, what I was looking for, and made sure my online presence reflected what I was wanting to attract, because my online presence at that time was attracting at 99% match my ex. So I hadn't done enough work there. However, during the time that I took the break off the apps, I continued dating in person. So I teach my clients a whole in-person dating strategy that matches who they are and what they are looking for. And I tell this story to illustrate massive action isn't, you go in, you hit a failure, and then you run back, and then you stop, right? And then you take a long time to get back into it. Massive action requires having a commitment to the goal to take action until you get the result, right? And sometimes taking the action is the emotional part of it, where you're working on your mindset, where you're working on your mental peace. And sometimes the taking action is actually being in the water, getting in the water, not dipping your toe in the water, getting in the water, staying in the water, and doing what it takes to actually get the result. If you haven't gotten the result yet, it means the amount of action that is needed has not been fulfilled. You just haven't taken enough action. What I notice a lot of women doing is they will do what we call micro quitting. So in the coach world, it's called micro quitting, where you have these little quits along the way. It looks like you're taking action, but you're actually quitting 100 times a day. So it can be like, I'm on the apps. I've got my profile on the apps. I am swiping, but then when you go on there to swipe, the emotional state you come with, the mental state you come with, you get on there, you're like, okay, you swipe, right on one person, and then you see 3 profiles in a row that you don't like, and you're like, oh, this is terrible, and you throw your hands up in the air, and then you're like, I can't do this, right? Some women will also date, but like settle every single time. So, you meet someone, you're like, oh, he's kind of okay. Let me see where it goes. You date that person for 3 months. It doesn't work. Then you did another one for 3 months, doesn't work. And so if you look back at quote unquote, the massive action for the past year, you've actually only met 4 new people in the last year. But the amount of dating, the number of people you need to meet, the number of profiles you need to swipe on, maybe way more than what you are willing to do or what you are permitting yourself to do, because your mindset and your emotional state are not where they need to be. And this is where coaching can be a real boon and a real support for your mindset and your emotional state when you are dating. Now, I want to caveat that dating is not just a numbers game, okay? It's not just taking action. It's not just being on the app and swiping right on everyone and going on 100 dates. It's not just that, because people have tried that and that didn't work. You get burned out if, when you are racking up those numbers, the quality of those dates isn't there, right? So it's a numbers game in the sense that you require a certain amount of massive action, but it is also a quality game. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later in the podcast. But let's talk about the obstacles. So micro quitting happens when you hit an obstacle and then you give up. Sometimes you're still kind of in the area, you're still kind of doing the thing, but you've actually given up. You're like, oh, this is too hard. I want to use the metaphor of a garden hose. Now, there are some people in this world who, when they are done using their garden hose to water their garden, they roll it up in this really nice circular this nice circle. So everything is nice and neat, and then they hang it on the side of the house. If you are of that group of humans, well done. I, on the other hand, let my kids play with the garden hose when we were growing up, and I let them put it away, and it was never put back the way it was supposed to be. I would often find the garden hose like knotted up, and there'd be kinks in it all over the place. Your dating journey, depending on where you are, can look like that, right? You're coming out of this long-term marriage. The world is different. There are dating apps. You were married for 20 something years. Like, what is a dating app and how do I find people on it? The etiquette is different. The language is different. People are texting, no longer calling. The pandemic has impacted our desire and our motivation to go out. So there's all these things that are happening. Each of these obstacles that you meet is like a little knot in the garden hose. It's like a little piece of it that's kinked up. So when you screw it to the faucet and you turn it on, the water isn't coming out, right? And you're like, oh, fine, I'll troubleshoot this. So imagine troubleshooting it and just taking out one kink, or maybe taking out 2 kinks, and then turning on the faucet and the water still isn't coming out. And then you're like, oh, this is terrible. Right? I'm still not getting any water on my lawn. Or imagine venting to your neighbor like we would vent to our girlfriends when we're dating. They're like, oh, it's not working. You have to be prepared for troubleshooting your dating journey. Like, you're coming to this with like, and here's the other thing. There's no education for this. We were learning algebra and quadratic equations instead of how to choose a healthy partner, instead of how to interact with other humans, instead of how to comfortably interact with men, instead of all these things that we actually needed to succeed in life, right? Now, I am a coach and I have divorced and I am now married again. So I know what the obstacles are for my clients. And so I empathize with when you're starting out, because I remember when I was starting out, I didn't know what the obstacles were going to be. I didn't know everything I was going to face along the way in order to meet my partner, right? I didn't know that. And so when things happened, it was kind of upsetting. So I empathize and I understand if it's upsetting. However, don't let that stop you. And again, this is where a coach can be really helpful because I'm really good at interpreting what's happening. I'll give you an example. I have a client who has started her dating journey in her late 50s. She's doing great, by the way. But I remember there was this moment before she went on the apps. She was like, I just don't think my guy will be on the apps. And she's like very intellectual, a huge giver. She gives so much to her community. She's a reader, she studies theology, all these things. Like, she's just this awesome human. And she was like, I just don't think a guy who does these things, who has the same intellectual bent and the spiritual bent, would be on an app. And I was like, you would be surprised. The reason I could tell her that was because I knew I've done this for myself and I've done it for so many women, that I knew that the obstacle that she was facing, which is my really awesome guy would not be on an app, and that wasn't really true. So I was able to like guide her to like, hey, let's give it a shot. We're going to go on there. And of course, she didn't meet that guy, for the first 2-3 weeks. He didn't show up right away, but then he did. Like, she met this guy and they were like completely on the same wavelength when it came to how they showed up in life and intellectualism. And I'm saying that right. Their intellectual levels, their spiritual levels, spiritual traditions, political beliefs. They had great conversations for a couple of weeks. And then, unfortunately, he felt like they were not a match. So they never did go on a first date. And she was so sad, right? She was so sad. And she was like, oh no, this is terrible. This is bad. And everything. I was like, wait, remember when you thought this kind of guy would not be on the apps? This is actually a good sign. And so I was able to help her interpret that moment to say, hey, do you wonder exactly how divorced women just like you are meeting eligible men who want a real relationship and a commitment? They're doing it by dating with their core values. Your core values are the GPS that lead you to the partner you've been looking for. When you use your core values on dating apps, text messages, and at social events, you will easily connect with your true match partner without chasing, settling, or wasting time with non-committal men. I have taught exactly how to do this in the 2-hour Core Values Dating Blueprint course available on my website, shadecurry.com/dating. That's SADECURRY.com/dating. You will learn exactly how to identify your core values and use them on your dating profile, how to ask the right questions via text, and how to tell the right stories on dates so that you attract the right people and repel those who aren't right for you. If you're ready to meet your true match, hop over to shadecurry.com/dating or click the link in the show notes. Now back to the episode. This is a sign of success. One, that your kind of guy is on the apps, and two, we've created an online profile for you that successfully attracted one of those guys. So it's not hidden. And when they see when that kind of person sees your profile, they will be attracted to it and they will message you. And so instead of her seeing the obstacle of the guy saying they were not a match and feeling disappointed and ending her journey, I was able to show her that no, this is just we've just unkinked another piece of the garden hose. So the first piece was, can't find the guy. Now we fixed that. Now you found the guy. Now the guy said you weren't a match. Okay, let's fix what was missing in that attraction or in that interaction, right? And so massive action is continuing on your journey, unkinking every single piece of the dating journey until you get the result, right? I teach my clients to create a dating plan where each single item on their plan could potentially achieve the goal of meeting their person. Like not just one plan and then now we follow that plan and see if it works. No, we have multiple plans. And then you want each of those to be something that could meet your person. It could get you to meet your person. So if you haven't gotten the result yet of meeting your partner after divorce, it doesn't mean that result is not available. It just means you haven't done it yet. And if this is a result that's important to you, if meeting your partner is important to you, if it's something you want as part of your one life, then you've got to keep going, right? Don't just plan to go at it later. Don't take breaks every 3 days. Like that just means that there's a piece missing because you're not going to be able to put in the amount of effort that's required. You need to keep going, but you need to keep your mindset and your emotional energy also in the right place in order to keep going. I wanted to use an illustration from the 10,000 hour rule. So Malcolm Gladwell wrote the book Outliers, and in it, he referenced the $10,000 rule that had been coined by Anders Ericsson, who had done research on violin students at a music academy in Berlin. And he estimated that the best of the best got 10,000 hours of practice in before they turned 20. Right? Before the age of 20, they got in 10,000 hours, and that was the indicator that they were going to go on to be the best of the best. Now, that is amazing. I want to say you will not need 10,000 hours of dating in order to do this. Dating is way easier, way easier than playing the violin at mastery level. Way easier. Like maybe 20 hours is all you need. I don't know, but it's like way easier. But beyond the 10,000 hour rule, there were certain elements that went into that 10,000 hour rule that made it work, because people thought, I just need to do 10,000 hours and then that's it. But no, it's not just 10,000 hours. This is why, I just want to reiterate, dating is not a numbers game. It's not date 100 people and then you'll meet your person. That's not how it works. According to Ericsson, there are some things that the 10,000 hours required in order for them to actually achieve mastery. So the quantity of the practice that the students performed mattered. The number of hours they actually spent with their violin, practicing violin, that mattered. But then secondly, the quality of the practice also mattered, because you don't get mastery by practicing the wrong thing over and over and over again. The third thing was understanding the starting point for each student. Every student's starting point is different. And so that would determine the quantity of practice that they needed and the quality of practice that they needed. So, and I'll apply all this to dating in a second. I just want to mention the four things. And then the fourth one was the quantity and quality of the instruction, the teaching, the instructor, the teacher also mattered. So if a student was practicing 10,000 hours on their own, they would not achieve mastery. If they were practicing 10,000 hours and a lot of that time was spent with a master teacher who was correcting them moment by moment, that kind of 10,000 hours is what led to the best of the best. So let's apply this concept to dating. The quantity of action, the massive action that you take when you are dating, matters. This is the amount of time you spend on the apps, the amount of time you spend on going on dates, interacting with men, doing all the things that go into a successful dating journey. Going out, going to places where you could meet quality men who will be compatible with you in the real world. How you show up, your interactions, your verbiage, your ability to hold a conversation. How much time are you spending not preparing for those things, doing those things? So that is the quantity of action, the massive action required. One. So you need that. Now, the second thing is the quality of your action also matters. So if you are going on 30 dates every month, but all of those men are not compatible with you, then that's not helpful. That's not getting you any closer, right? You're still at the starting point. If you are on the apps, but you're triggered and you are annoyed and you are scolding and you are like, this is terrible and all that, and your mindset is just so negative, the quality of that action is going to matter, right? So that matters too. Spending more time being triggered, being annoyed, dating men who are not compatible with you is not going to get you to the goal. And I just want to say, for those of you who have not downloaded the free 50 green flags checklist for evaluating men who are compatible with you, go straight to the show notes or just go to my website, sadecurry.com, SADECURRY.com. You can download that for free so that you can see what it means to be in contact with a man who might be compatible with you, with a man who has green flags, with a quality man, right? And that will help you fix that little piece of your journey where you are spending time with men who will not turn out to be those you want to commit to, or who will commit to you, all of that. It's all in the green flags. Just go down with that right away, right? And that will keep you from being in the place where you keep wasting time worrying that you let a good one get away. You're afraid of being judgy. You're spinning in indecision. You keep settling. All of that happens when you don't understand what it looks like to have a good man, right? So the quality of the action matters. The quality of the man that you are dating, the quality of the actions that you are taking matters. All right. So the third thing that Erickson talked about was your starting point. What is your starting point in your unique journey when you are dating? Dating looks different for extroverts. It looks different for introverts. And it looks different for people with social anxiety, who both extroverts and introverts could have social anxiety. Like, sometimes we're taking dating advice that does not apply to us. How much dating did you do as a young person? Like, how familiar are you with hanging out with guys and just having conversations? How comfortable are you with that? How comfortable are you with technology? All of this matters. And this is why you can't just take someone else's journey or someone else's piece of advice and apply it to yours, right? There is a difference between trying to guess your way using, like, piecing the advice together from all of your girlfriends and literally creating a process and creating a strategy that is based on you, what you want, where you are. The starting point matters. And then finally, the quantity and quality of instruction and teaching also matters. The valiant students who turned out to be the best were able to practice and get better every single time because they spent hours practicing with expert teachers who corrected every single move, right? And they were able to make those adjustments. Just like football coaches will spend time with their players watching game film. Okay, you did this here, you should have done that. Like, it's like this very detailed evaluation and adjustments that they make. Now, this applies to dating. It applies to dating so much. I'll give you one very quick example. I have a client who has been dating. We've been working together. And when she came to me, she was taking advice from her friend, who was a wonderful person, married 31 years, loving husband. And my now client, kept giving men a chance. So she kept settling in these relationships. She would be in a relationship for like 6 months and turned out not to be the guy. She's like, I'm not attracted to this guy. And her friend who had been married 31 years said, listen, I wasn't attracted to my husband, and I forget his name. Well, I shouldn't say his name, even if I knew it. I wasn't attracted to him when I first met him. We'd been friends for a while. I was never attracted to him. And then I decided to give him a chance. And then I found out he was a really great guy. And then we got married, and now we've been happily married for 31 years. And so my client was then taking this advice of giving men a chance, giving men you're not attracted to a chance, applied it to her dating journey, and kept ending up in these 6-month relationships that never went anywhere. First of all, not being attracted, in quotes, means different things to different people. So what her friend meant by not being attracted was very different from what she meant by not being attracted. But because they couldn't examine each other's internal journey, there was no way for them to know that they were talking about two different things. Attraction is so individual. Chemistry is so individual. Have a podcast episode on that. You might want to check that out. What it means to be, how to evaluate your attraction, how to evaluate your chemistry. right? And then secondly, her friend had been married for 31 years. When her friend got married, dating apps did not exist. We were all barely using email. So her friend was not the right person to give her advice on this journey. And since she's come to work with me, her dating experience has been so much better. And she's right now so close, based on the metrics that we use and the tracking that we use. She's so close to meeting her person. It's like pretty much any day now. So you want to understand the quality and the quantity of instruction you're getting. What does your dating strategy look like, and where did you get it? How did you put it together? And does it apply to what you are looking for? And is it getting you exactly what you want, right? So when I work with my clients, we do that to make dating normal, practical, not weird at all, so that they have a really good experience all the way to meeting their partner. And, if this kind of work is interesting to you and you want to say, okay, what would it look like for me to have a strategy that was custom to me, a dating process that worked for me, that took into consideration everything that I am, my socioeconomic status, my interests, my hobbies, all of that, so I could find a partner who would match that. Then if you're on my mailing list, just hit reply to any of the emails that I send, and we can have a conversation about that, or you can schedule a consultation call. That link is in the show notes, or just go to my website, shadicurry.com. There's a schedule appointment page. You can schedule a consultation call with me. And I do want to say that if you are thinking about doing that, now is a really good time, because in the Dating After Divorce Academy community, we are kicking off a 10 dates in 30 days challenge in the community. And we are going to troubleshoot every day. Every day for 30 days, I am going to be online troubleshooting my clients' journeys every day, like every piece of their journey. I'm going to be alongside them, troubleshooting their journey for 30 days to get them to the finish line, because some of them are so close. Some of them are brand new, and they'll be able to get really jump started very quickly over the next, not the next 30 days. We're getting ready to schedule it, but this is a good time to contact me and get on my calendar so that you can be a part of that. All right. How do you evaluate if you're truly taking massive action, or if you're micro quitting, or if it's sort of like a start-stop journey, right? You want to sit down and say, okay, how much time have I actually spent in the pool? How much time have I actually spent doing the things? So that's the first thing. Evaluate if you're truly taking massive action. Evaluate if you're committed to keep moving forward until you get the result, right? Have you prepared your mind and your heart for the inevitable obstacles, right? And then do you have the material to troubleshoot those obstacles so that you can keep going? Do you understand the elements of your own unique journey so that you have a strategy that completely applies to you that will get you where you are going? And then are you also taking into consideration that you need to troubleshoot not just your actions, but your mindset and your emotional energy? You want this to feel good, right? If it feels terrible all the way, I don't think the end result is going to be what you're looking for. I believe that the way you are experiencing your dating journey is an indicator of the path to success that you're on, right? Like, we want to get you to be in the dating pool, enjoying yourself, having fun, with dating being effortlessly. That might require some growth on your part, but yes, why not? Why wouldn't you want to experience that growth? Why wouldn't you want to experience that side of dating that can be fun and enjoyable? Because people have been experiencing it, and you can too. All right. That's it for today. I really appreciate your time and attention. Again, check out the show notes if you want to contact me, if you want to download the 50 green flags, or if you want to schedule a consult call. I will see you next time. Thanks for listening today. If you are ready to get married after divorce, I want to invite you to download my free 8-video training specifically designed to help divorced women date with ease and get married again. Head over to shadicurry.com to get started. That's SADECURRY.com. I'll see you inside.